Hey there, commercial construction coffee talk fans. Thanks for chiming in. My name's David Corson. I'm your host. I'm also the publisher and editor of Commercial Construction and Renovation magazine. Thanks for finding us on the web. I'm out of Atlanta, Georgia. Man, is it hot. Last week I told you I was boiling like an egg. Now I'm boiling like a chicken. It's hot down here. Just had some really good thunderstorms roll through, so it's actually cooled things down. We'll take the water. We don't want the lake to dry up. You know, we use a lot of water here down in the ATL, feed in Florida, Georgia, Alabama. The water wars are going on. Hope everybody had a great weekend. Myself, playing old guy lacrosse last night, beat the undefeated team. It's the only way to start the week with a W on the board. I know those guys are bummed, but now I'm happier than a pig in slop. So there you go. Hope everybody's doing great out there. Washing your hands, don't touch your face, all that good stuff. Have a great episode tonight. Have a few gentlemen that are decided to come on Commercial Construction Coffee Talk and talk about their product lines and how it's helping businesses get reopened and so forth. I'm sitting here with Mr. Dean Nichol, Mr. Tom Atkinson of East to West Digital Products out of East Northport, New York, which is out on the island. So say good evening to our Commercial Construction Coffee Talk fans out there. Dean, say hi.
Hey folks, how are you today? Thank you very much. Hello from New York.
And Tom.
Hello everyone, Tom Atkinson. Pleasure to be on tonight.
Yeah, we know you guys aren't from the South. That's for sure. So we hear the twang, you know. I'm from Philly, so I've kind of lost my twang a little, you know, but people say, oh, you're not from here. No, I'm not. I'm a Yankee living in the South. No, I'm a damn Yankee living in the South because I stayed here. So anyway, thanks for joining us. I know it's busy schedules and so forth. We always start out our episodes with getting a little background on where you grew up, how you where you went to school, if you have any kids, how you got into construction in this sector. So, Dean, I'll start with you.
Oh gosh, you've known me now for, I want to say, probably 24, 25 years.
Yep.
I first started in the industry with a company called United Ceramic Tile. I was given an opportunity to be their salesperson in Manhattan in 1987. In 1988, I ran that division at 23 years old and grew that business from $1 million a year up to $8 million a year when I left there in, gosh, let's see, 87, 95. When I left United in 95, and it was a great experience writing commercial specifications for high-end retail store planners across the country, I went over to a company called ACC International. They had carpet and vinyl. That was their main forte. I brought all my stone knowledge, my import experience, and tile to their complement. We started something called ACC International Flooring Concepts. So I added to their whole package. In the tenure that I was there, I believe they were at $8 million when I started with them in 95. When I left them in 2003, they were up to $32 million. You remember those days.
Oh, yeah. No, I remember going into ACC and Arlene, checking me in and all that stuff. Mm-hmm.
That's right. That's right. You had a good run there. I had to sell you to Richard at that point in time.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
So I've been to town and back a bit. Those are my first two careers. And then I started East to West back in 2003, 2004. And a lot of my old customers needed the level of service that I only could provide. And they started coming back and trickling in. And here we are 15 years later. And it's been a very, very good run. But I feel at this point in time, given our current situation with the COVID-19, is it's time to change it up a little bit, to diversify a bit. That's the reason we've come out with this product that we feel is going to create, we know is going to create a safer environment for customers, employees, security, whomever is in a store environment, a restaurant environment, coliseum, any type of venue. This scanner that Tom and I have put together is something that's going to give people a lot of peace of mind when it comes to entry into spaces. So that's pretty much my lineage.
All right, Tom, you're up. You got the floor.
Well, good evening, everybody. Again, Tom Atkinson. A pleasure to be with everyone here tonight. I've had really a sales career that spans the better part of 30 years. I started actually as a salesperson for Diamond Match Corporation, believe it or not. I worked in Manhattan and I sold advertising matches to a number of high-end restaurants in Manhattan, La Côte Basque. I had Philip Morris as an account. I had all these various accounts. I won Salesman of the Year way back when, so that was fun. I then went on to work for part of Grumman Data Systems Institute. We actually sold programs for computer programming, for systems analysis, for electronics, and it actually was a student body. We recruited, sold our courseware to them, and it was actually a straight commission job. It was challenging but lucrative, and I did really well there. I then went on to a 27-year career with Dun & Bradstreet, a global information company. I actually ended up in enterprise sales. Over my career, I sold over $100 million in our solutions. I managed accounts like AIG, Marsh McLennan, American Express, the big four professional services firms. I was very, very successful in driving Dun & Bradstreet's global content into things like CRM platforms like Salesforce, SAP, big ERP installations. I was pretty innovative. I really understood. I went to market by really understanding my customers' needs, really diving in and being innovative around their compliance needs, their sales and marketing needs, and just drove our data into their most valuable platforms and really made the information integral to all their processes. So I had a very, very good career there. I've been doing a lot of consulting work recently. Dean and I actually met at the gym and developed a little relationship from just working out and having some common interests. And recently a friend of mine actually in California, I missed one. I worked for 3M, Minnesota Mining and Manufacturing. I actually sold electronic typewriters back in the 80s.
Oh, wow.
Believe it or not, in Manhattan. I had the west side of Manhattan as a territory. But I met a friend of mine, this guy, Ron Varing, who I've known for 35 plus years. I met him in St. Paul, Minnesota at a training class for 3M. And within a week, we became best friends and we've been friends for life. But Ron owns a Konica Minolta dealership in Southern California. And he's actually brought us to this opportunity with the kiosk because so many people today are challenged with COVID in terms of trying to find ways to, again, as Dean said, protect your employees. A lot of companies just go with the scanner and put it to your head and say, oh, what's your temperature? And that's not really protecting the employee, whether you're in a restaurant, you're putting them in harm's way. And so there's such a need to have a solution that's much more automated, much simpler, that facilitates entry into your facility without high risk. And so we're here to talk about that this evening and really also talk about the pandemic and the ramifications of that. So we appreciate the time and Dave, your willingness to have us on. So that's my
We welcome you. Two things. I loved collecting those matches way back when. Any cool restaurant I went, I always grabbed the matchbooks. That was the last thing I did before I walked out of there. And I went to the dentist today, and it was like going into Fort Knox. I had to go into the parking lot, park, call them. They opened the door, had to have a mask on. They took my temperature, and then they let me in. And then, but it was unbelievable. So
let me ask you a question then, Dave, if you don't mind, because this is a perfect example, and then I'll share one with you because we all have stories like this. So the person who approached you is an employee.
Correct.
They shouldn't be put in that position because now
Correct.
they're in a compromising position to start. And that's just wrong. Right across the board, whether it's retail, hospitality, entertainment, no employee should be put in a compromising position, because in order for them to put a wand to your forehead, they had to probably be within 1.5 to 2 feet of you.
Correct.
We're hoping you had a good mask on. I'm sure you did. I'm sure you had a little fashion thing going on. But that other person, did they have the appropriate mask? And where were they the day before? So
Yeah.
it almost is a breach right when you're walking into a space between the customer and the employee.
Mm-hmm.
And I found it the other day. I walked into my acupuncturist, and I've been going there for many years, and their screening process was very similar. She came up to me with a wand and took my temperature. Temperature was fine. Asked me maybe 4 or 5 different questions: where I had been, any problems, how did I feel lately, and then I would sign off a disclaimer, in essence.
Yeah, they actually sent me the disclaimer email. Have I had a temperature? Have I been exposed to COVID? Do I know anybody that's okay? It was about maybe 15 questions, and then gave me the instructions on what to do when I arrive, and so forth. So I was supposed to have my teeth done, I think, in March. So that's how long it's been exposed. And they've only been open for about a month or so. And I asked them, I said, has anybody had COVID in here? And they said no. But, they all had their masks on, and, they're so close to you, they're cleaning your teeth, and, but no shields, they just had the masks on. But, that's how it went in there. So.
Yeah, well, this any arena that you go into, and I don't mean arena per se, physical structure, but any retail store, any restaurant, I see protocol all over the place, totally different.
Mm-hmm.
Some folks have that where you sign off it as you walk in. Some people have the thermometers. Some people just bring you directly to the outside dining. It all changes. And with our system, if you can see it behind us, what happens is you approach the system as you walk into the space, and I can give you an example if you'd like.
No, go for it.
So it recognizes my face, and it says the temperature is 98.7 normal temperature. So I'm safe entered at that point. Now, I also have the capacity to download the information into an Excel spreadsheet, up to 30,000 entries. So it's not just that you're getting the face recognition, you're getting the scan, the temperature scan, you're having that peace of mind for your employee and for your patrons, but it's also giving you a history.
But all the information, like for the people that are entering the building, that's entered into the system, so they know, like when you approach it, that's you, correct?
Absolutely.
And it's all, and so it's all in there. So if there's 40 people in my building, anybody that wants to get into the building that goes in front of that before the door gets unlocked or whatever, they can go up there. And then if you have a fever, you ain't getting in, correct?
Right, you're not getting in. Or if you had a situation that occurred the next day, maybe you got infected overnight, and which happens quite often. And you know how the incubation period is. We really don't know a lot about this now. And we were thinking about what safe method we could use. And this just made sense because it's no contact. And it gives you everything that you need right at the onset without putting anyone in harm's way.
So depending if it's a freestanding structure or if it's an inline structure in a mall, that fixture, kiosk, call it what you want, that would be placed in front of the door, or where would it normally be placed?
Well, let's use assignment property, for example, as you walk in through one of the entrances. It could be, the kiosk could be right there, or it could be 2 or 3, depending upon how much traffic there is in the space.
Mm-hmm.
We don't want to add personnel to this. We want this to be simple, clean, and safe. That's the goal, because again, to echo what I said earlier, these retail employees have no business of being compromised, and it's not right. And there's so many misnomers about this disease as it progresses and everything else that we have to change with it.
Mm-hmm.
And we have to make sure that we keep our people safe and we stay safe.
Yeah, my lacrosse guys, we have 200 guys that play. I'm on the board, and we went through this whole thing about, okay, do we want to take temperature? Do we not? You know, we had to put the legal waiver, force majeure in our, you know, so we don't get sued as a league, or like I'm a team manager or I don't get sued. So we just basically we made it simple. Hey, if you don't feel good, you got a fever, don't come to the field. If you've got diabetes, you know, you've got, you know, other ailments, and or if you've got your parents living with you, or one of your child's got asthma, don't play. We're not going to be bummed out you're not there. We just want to make sure everybody is safe. But we discussed the temperature thing, and I'm playing at 7 o'clock at night. It's still 95 degrees and humid. Once I get I'm sweating anyway. So we just said, you know what, you know, moving on. And but I know other people that like, you know, my dentist, it's like Fort Knox, and I don't blame them. They don't want to, you know, once the bug gets in there, they got to shut the practice down. They got to disinfect everything. And they were shut down for almost 2 months, you know, and then they had to backlog everybody that was scheduled to get back, you know, into the gig. Like I said, I was rescheduled, I think 3 times. And then they sent me the Fort Knox booklet to read, to go into the parking lot to get let in. And I was laughing because I really haven't worn a mask or gloves. I mean, I just haven't. And so I have one of my buddies sent me my mask. Here's my mask, Philadelphia Eagles mask. This is my mask. This was the first time I wore it. And anyway,
Still an Eagles fan.
yeah, there you go. I know you can put. What are you gonna put? Jets on, Giants. What do you got there?
That's the 95 on the inside there, and the outside is an east to west.
Oh, there you go.
And I just put it on like this. But this is a 95 mask, which is better than the 3
Well,
ply
that's the
mask.
best one, the 95.
Yeah.
The 95.
And I have maybe a half dozen of these.
Well, you know what? Here's a good story for you. In December, I came back from Centerville, which is a construction shopping center AEC conference, and my neighbor always has a Christmas party in the middle of December. I've gone to so my wife went. 2 days later, about 150 people at this party. 50 people got sick. All had the same thing: high fever, aches and pains. My wife was, sick as a dog. Then my kid got it, and then they both had this cough for like almost 6 weeks. I mean, it was just this hacking respiratory cough. I didn't get it. Then I had my summit, walked some shows, January, February, March. I was on the road when everything got shut down. I was doing site visits for my retreat in Milwaukee, and I didn't get sick. And I'm on statins for high cholesterol. So in April, I went to get my blood work done. I told my doctor about this story, and he said, you know what? I think you have the antibodies. And I said, oh, cool. And he goes, well, I want to test you. I go, well, I'm not sticking that wand down my back of my nose. Or I said, he goes, no, I've got an antibody test that I'm getting in about, a couple of weeks. I'll call you. I want to know if you have it. So he just got the test in, and, he called me. In the meantime, in the middle of April, my bank's lobbies are closed. So everything, you got to go through the drive-through. So I go through the drive-through on a Thursday afternoon. And then Saturday, I get a mail, marked urgent, and from my bank, and it said, Mr. Corson, you went through the drive-through at 2:23 on this date, and the person at the drive-through had COVID, and you need to go get tested. And I was like, oh my God, why did they send me a snail mail? Why didn't they have my email, my phone? They could have called me. They let me go for 72 hours, and I work out of my house. So I don't see that many people. But I called my banker up. I'm like, why didn't you just call me? And I go, how many people go through that drive-through? Oh, about 250, 300 probably a day, because the lobby's closed. And I was like, oh my God, you sent that same letter out, that CYA letter out to everybody? So I didn't go get tested. I didn't get sick. And so I'm pretty sure I have the antibodies. Now, I'm going to take the test to make sure. But, and if I do, I'm going to donate. so I can help some people. But it really depends on what state you're in and all the regulations. Like here in Georgia, they shut the restaurants down, then they opened them. They still had construction going on. But I can even see this, for a construction site. If you're going on a construction site, all the subs and everybody's in there, man, because
Absolutely.
we're in construction. So if you're on the site and you have to shut the site down, you got to disinfect everything. And you know how retail is. Hey, if they're opening a store, they've got to have the circulars. Everything is backed up in the construction process. So if you miss your opening date, that's a bummer. So I would think that this would be very applicable to any type of renovation, new build, et cetera, at least for our sector, with this kind of equipment, correct?
It's very, very versatile. I had asked a friend the other day, I'm not going to mention who he works for, but he works for a large municipality, and he's a lead architect. And I said to him, what's the protocol as you go into this space? He goes, well, I have my badge. I show the security guard my badge. I get on the elevator with 3 or 4 other people. Everyone is wearing a mask. I go up to my office. I sit at my PC and I go through maybe 10 or 12 different checkpoints and questions. And I submit it for that day. How in the world is that safe? How is that a decent reporting mechanism?
Yeah.
The threshold on a temperature for potential COVID is 100 degrees. If you're showing 100 degrees, and that's a red flag, and right away. Sometimes people don't know that, and so having an automated mechanism to do that, and then red flagging it right away, that you have a potential high risk. So having just an attestation that is self-filled out is not a real great methodology to protect your business or protect anybody entering into a space.
How long does it take you to program, like let's say you have 100 employees, 50. How long does it take you to program the unit? Do you just take a flash drive and insert it, or?
Well, it's all
USB
ports,
Mm-hmm.
Excel spreadsheet. It could be a little bit more sophisticated than that if they choose to, when it comes to logging and so on. So there's a number of different softwares that we're entertaining now that can add to this complement. But at this point in time, we just really want to be a freestanding unit that's going to screen people. And at the end of the day, they can download that Excel spreadsheet and see the history of who came into this space, whether it be employees or retailers or, yeah.
What's the blue line in the middle? Is that just aesthetics, or is that
well,
just?
yeah, it is. It's an LED.
Mm-hmm.
Just gives it a little bit of a design aspect to it. You can. It said just get close for taking temperature. So it's highly sensitive. I want Tom to go over to it now so you can see how it works for him.
Tom's 6'5" too, by the way, out there, fans. So he's got to bend down in there to get it.
Normal temperature. So he just went in there within 1 second. 1 second, you have a reading, which is super, super fast. And there's no breach with the wand to the head or this teenager who's working as a hostess at the restaurant. Who knows where he or she has been? It's a safer method to do it. Much safer method to do it.
And accurate too, correct?
Oh, it blows my mind.
It is pretty amazing. We've tried it a bunch of times, different ways, and we're just, it's pretty cool.
I'm 97.2.
Very cool. So with this product, if someone was interested in finding out more about it, how would they get in touch with you guys? Dean?
Well, the best way to get in touch with us is they can go directly to eastwestsales.com. And we have a page up there now which shows the profile of this machine, of this kiosk. So they can just enter their information in that manner, or they can email me at Dean, D-E-A-N, at East, E-A-S-T, 2 is T-O, westsales.com. Dean at east2westsales.com.
And Tom?
They can easily get me, I take calls on my mobile phone all the time, 631-708-5762. Great way to get me. I always have it with me. Feel free to call me. I'll certainly give them an overview, walk through their questions, and happy to just deal with people through, they can even text me, which is fine.
One question, I get so many press releases every day. Everybody's got the PPE thing, and and obviously there's people out there that have some of these freestanding kiosks that are out there. They do different things. What makes yours unique from some of the other ones that are out there?
How fast it is. And that, in fact, it has the capability of logging information. In this case, an Excel spreadsheet, time, temperature levels, so on and so forth. So you've got a bit of a history. If in fact something does happen, you can go back and trace potentially.
Yeah, the tracing thing was big. Like I said, they traced me right at the bank. They just went through the transaction thing and found out, where I went. So, but this type of device, I would think that if you're a retailer, a restaurant, a hospital, a naval base, I can go down the list. Wherever you're going to have people that are congregating, the YMCA, a church, any of that type of stuff. You want to know who's sick and who's not. It's just reality. And
yeah, schools are a good one too.
Well, yeah, like I said, schools. If we want to get sports back, I'm an athlete, so we want to get sports in. You better have one of these or a bunch of them in there, and we might be able to have a season. Let alone if they're not. Even if it comes back in the spring, you still have them. And the biggest thing is that after they find a vaccine or a therapeutic, and find the stupid darn bugs, to get rid of it, I think having these things up there would be just a good thing to have anyway.
I think it's going to be normal protocol.
Mm-hmm.
Really do. I think it's just we're living in a new age now, and we have to change with it. A lot of people want to roll up in a bowl and just say, this is just going to go away. Not in this case.
No.
They got us good.
Yeah, no, it's here. Listen, until like I said, until they find the right vaccine or therapeutic, you're going to have to deal with it. It's going to be a roller coaster of spikes, and where it's going to, spike up and where it's not, you're just not going to know. But, well, this has been very interesting, gentlemen. Coming from a flooring guy, now you're actually, you need to get some lab coats, with your names on there, and pushing, hey, temperature and, all that kind of stuff,
Yeah, I like that. Dr. Dino.
Yeah, Dr. Dino and Dr. Tom, we're doing the kiosk. That's the way that I would do it. But, well, if there was one thought that you want to leave our audience with, it could be a word or just a thought, coming into the reopening and the pandemic where we are towards the end of the summer, what would it be?
I'd say the one word that comes to mind for me is perseverance. We all have to persevere during this very critical time. So persevere, be smart, stay safe, find ways to protect one another. It's very, very important. My mother passed away in March, not from COVID, but I've seen people go, and it's a sad thing. So I just think everybody's got to stay the course, persevere, do the right thing, and again, protect one another, and Godspeed, stay safe.
This hits home. This hits home with me personally on a number of levels. I've lost, a couple of my friends' parents have passed from COVID. VA-related situations or nursing homes. And then I know I shared this with you the other day, Dave, about Faith, my daughter,
mm-hmm.
who is soon to be 20, who is working at a assisted living home. I'm not going to mention the name here on Long Island, but one of the best ones on the island. And when the governor allowed those patients who had COVID to go into those different assisted living facilities, she became infected. She was quarantined for 14, 15 days at home, went back to work 5 days later. Now, mind you, she's young and she's healthy. And then she had a TIA, a stroke, when she was at her boyfriend's house. And she checked out for about 5 minutes, where she wasn't able to speak. Her motor functions were impeded, a number of different things. We rushed her to the hospital. Thank God I was able to get her over to a stroke unit and have her assessed. And a TIA is one that goes in and disperses. But what had happened was the virus boomeranged. Mm-hmm. So almost like a Lyme's disease, it was dormant in the system. It came out again and found a place where she was vulnerable. This happened to be in her neck. And that's what traveled into her brain and dispersed. Mm-hmm. She's still having different tests done to this day. And that was 6-7 weeks ago. She has partial numbness, not full sensitivity in her left side. She's going for physical therapy. They feel she's going to be okay, but how do we know that? Because we don't know what this is and how it morphs. Mm-hmm. And what came in from China is different than what came in from Europe.
Right.
So you've got two different strains. You've got a bastard strain that came in from Europe on the eastern seaboard, and then you have the China virus that came in from the West.
Yeah. Well, it's like here when like Atlanta is the biggest airport in the world. So all these people that were traveling and so forth, that's probably where they got it. And one of them had it at the party, and just being close in and the droplets, that's how all those people got sick. I mean, we just thought it was all the flu, and they all got tested and it wasn't, so they didn't know what it was. But now looking back, I'm like, oh, you know what it was? It was probably COVID, because that's what it was. High fever, aches, no diarrhea, just, that was the way that it went. So, well, gentlemen, good luck to your sales effort out there. I think that anybody that's out there listening to this episode, and you have a facility, you have an entranceway, and you've got people coming in, this would be something to look at versus making your employees do the work for you. Here's something that's basically self-sufficient. You set it up, and it can probably save you a lot of headaches and keep the sick people out of your facility from infecting other people. So,
amen.
So if you're interested, give these gentlemen a call and find out more about it. And hopefully we can, as time goes on, I always tell people, you won't recognize retail 3 to 5 years from now. Yeah, because you're going to have units like this that are going to be standing out in front of the doors. And then down the road, if another virus comes in and it's a temperature thing, boom, you're already set. We won't have to worry about getting more made or more ventilators and all that other stuff that went on there in the beginning. So just my word that I'm going to leave everybody is never ever quit. That's what I'm about. Losing's not an option. Get the W. Doesn't matter if it's ugly or pretty. It's just a W. That's all we're looking for.
Yeah, and take care of one another. I mean, I look at this as a service, and I think that's what we're meant to do. I mean, Tom and I have both had success over the years. Thank God for that. But at the same time, what's the purpose? Mm-hmm. How can we make a difference going forward in this changing environment? And I think this is a great vessel to make a difference for people. So I believe in it. You know me, Dave. Oh, yeah. I'm a hard-nosed New Yorker, no-nonsense guy. I've always been straight up. And when I believe in something, I get behind it 100%. And this is one of those things, brother.
Well, Commercial Construction Coffee Talk fans, you just heard it from the New Yorker out in East North part. Get with them, find out what they offer, and make your facility safe. And with that said, gentlemen, it's been a pleasure talking to Mr. Dean and Mr. Tom. Say goodnight from Northport.
Good night from East Northport.
Everybody.
For all you fans out there, if you want to get in touch with me, I'm David C. at ccr-mag.com. If you're not a subscriber, on my homepage at ccr-mag.com, there's a subscribe button. Click on it. We're always looking for stories and so forth. Become a subscriber. We got great stuff in the magazine. We post these up on Spotify, Google, and Apple. Also stream them on our social media. So look for us up there. With that said, we're going to say goodnight from the ATL. Thanks once again, gents, for finding the time to do this little interview. Very informative, very cool product, and have a great rest of the week. Stay cool the rest of the summer, and all you commercial construction coffee talk fans, thank you as always for tuning in. And with that said, I'm going to say goodnight, and we'll see you on our next episode. Say goodnight, guys.
Godspeed, brother.
Good night.
All right, man. Keep the faith. We'll talk to you guys later.